They say that life is what happens while you're busy doing other things. It's certainly true for me. History, in my lifetime, is almost as remote to me as fiction, something that occurred far away, something in which I had no active part. History, for me, legally, is hearsay. An individual's interaction with the great events of history is the subject of many a story. Sometimes the characters are center stage, other times they're on the periphery. Woody Allen's movie Zelig cleverly inserts him into numerous famous scenes. The movie Forrest Gump does the same thing with its protagonist. I vaguely recall another film in which two ditzy girls start hanging out with Richard Nixon, a premise funny enough to carry the day. I never made the background at any famous event. I was in a high school class when the announcement was made that the president had been shot and killed in Dallas, Texas, and we would be going home early. One night years later, I was driving with a friend through upstate New York, close to running out of gas, unable to find an open service station. We knew from the car radio that astronauts were going to land on the moon. We found a bar, stopped, and watched it on TV, the men emerging from the spacecraft like they were being born, and then bounding around the lunar surface like spring lambs. With that same friend, around that same time, I attended the only so-called historic event I would see, and that was Woodstock. I've heard that the lady who wrote the song Woodstock, "We are stardust, we are golden," did not attend, but I was there. Hell, I even bought tickets, and we came prepared. We had a good tent, sleeping bags and provisions, lots of food and drink, iced up in coolers. As we got close, we stopped and picked up some hitchhikers, 2 or 3 people. It was obvious by their age and their apparel where they were going. As the saying went, we were all alike in our nonconformity. From the back seat, one guy said, "Hey man, could you turn down the bass?" That made us smile a little because the radio wasn't on. But I said, "Sure, no problem." Later he asked again, "Hey man, could you dial down that bass? It's really messing with me." When we got very close, it became all too clear that we weren't going to get much closer, not in the car. We were in a massive traffic jam, and the car was overheating. Cars broke ranks, drove out of the right lane and into the left into oncoming cars. That quickly strangled everything. We left the car and all of our stuff and hiked in several miles. When we reached the gate, or what had been the gate, it was trampled, and there was no sign of anyone in any official capacity. We tore up our tickets and kept walking. It was dark night by then. Music was audible as we walked through an increasingly dense mass of people. We could hear someone singing. We came to the crest of what was a deeply sweeping bowl, and very far down in it we could see the lit-up stage and the singer with a guitar. I think it was Tom Paxton, but maybe not. In amazement, we realized that all the ground before us, every inch of it, was covered with people, thousands and thousands of people, and we would be going no further. It began to rain. Some people had been there for a while and had set up camp. Everyone else, us included, got soaked, as there was no cover. People were clearly having a bad time of it, and there were others asking them, "What did you take? What have you taken?" After a long, miserable time, the sun came up, but the light did not improve conditions. The residents along the road sat on their porches and took in the show, some selling water and food for outrageous prices. Our clothes were drenched and our feet were caked with mud. We knew we were not stardust and we weren't feeling all that golden. We trooped back to the car. It started, didn't seem damaged by the overheating, and we managed barely to turn around and weave our way out. We stopped and changed our clothes and had a lot of good things to eat on our way home. So the one event I did attend, it was like I wasn't even there.